Hey there friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sohum and I'm on a mission to spread peace, love, and positivity through music. Today I'll be reacting to 4 different anime openings and endings. We've pretty much got it all over here, so I'm excited to check these out. But before we do jump in, a massive thank you goes to Amy, whose generous support made this reaction possible. I really appreciate you. Alright. So before we actually listen to the songs, I want to just make sure that we're on the same page about the structure of this video. So I'm going to go through these openings one by one, read off the anime and a bit of the backstory behind each of these. And then, after listening to the song, I'll give my notes, give a rating, and then by the end of this, 4-parter, we'll have a bit of a list to look at and see, which ones were our favorites. So I encourage you all to follow along, add your ratings in the comments down below, and we can compare at the end. So the first anime we're going to be checking out here is called To Your Eternity, which is a story of an unknown entity who drops a sphere into the world that can take the shape of anything that it wishes to. The sphere will then collect data based on whatever shape it takes. At first, the sphere takes the shape of a rock and learns about moss. Then an injured wolf happens to collapse next to the rock and it takes the form of the wolf. Then it takes the shape of a boy who interacts with the wolf. This anime is pretty heavy on drama and takes a beautiful look at human nature and relationships. Yeah, I can immediately imagine like a lot of back and forth transformations, potentially very rapidly in some of the scenes. So the song we'll be checking out is called Pink Blood by Hikaru Utada. Let's just jump into it. Let's hear this one.
Pink blood, pink blood, pink blood.
That was really interesting. I don't think I've heard an opening quite like that. I don't know if you can read my notes here. I recognize that the on my preview that the text is kind of small here. I'll try to make it a bit easier to read. There's a lot of good things to say, but what I'm most honestly impressed by is this really light, bubbly, pleasant vocal melody and a beautiful, like I wrote it down here, nightlife beach lounge music vibe, and it is so consistently itself. I almost think it deserves like a rating in the 9s somewhere. I'm not entirely sure I can give it like higher than like, mid to high 9s. The best would be 10, of course. You know what? Just in case, I'm going to put this at like an 8.7 to like 9.2 kind of range. The reason is because there aren't many changing dynamics in this song, but it's weird because that is a comment that usually I associate with like a rating decrease across my different opening reactions. But for this one in particular, I'm actually very, very fine to have this consistency in its dynamics. It is so well put together, and I do think there are differences. Don't get me wrong, there are dynamics at play, but it's all in this consistent vibe. God, I feel like I said a lot without saying very much, but this definitely deserves a high rating. I enjoy it, and that's that. So we'll leave it around here for now, 8.7 to 9.2. The second opening we're going to be checking out is from the anime Ranking of Kings. So Amy writes, you might recognize Vondi as he wrote Otto's song Backlight. I'm a big fan of this one. For the One Piece film Red. He also did the first ending of Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Blood. I have to go back to my Chainsaw Man reactions to remember what the first one was, but I did a whole ratings for that as well. There were some great ones in that. So this anime Ranking of Kings is about a little prince named Boji, who is deaf but above all naive. Despite many criticisms from his people about his ascension to the throne, he does his best and dreams of becoming the greatest of kings. One day, he meets Kage, a survivor of a wiped-out assassin clan who understands his words despite Baji being unable to speak due to his disability. The story follows the pair as they navigate the world in all of its adventures and darkness. That is a very interesting plotline. It feels like they're in for some wild adventures given the different disabilities that are happening here. Let's check this one out. So this song is called Naked Hero by Vondi. Ooh. I wanted that one to go longer. I feel like there's more potential left there, more left in the tank. It's an interesting one. I almost felt, strangely enough, like this one was a little too quiet. I don't know. I don't think that's because of the decibels that I had the video at. I think it's just mixed, kind of quiet, kind of soft, and you can kind of get that vibe immediately from that like soft acoustic introduction, which I like. I pretty much liked every single part of this song. My main gripes would be, does it deserve a bigger sound or a louder, crazier chorus potentially? That's why I think a song like this, in the minute and a half that we had to hear, probably has more in the tank. There's more development that can happen. That said, I think this still gets rated in the 8s. I don't think it's uninteresting enough to deserve anything like in the 6s or 5s, because those would be average. And I guess I shouldn't say the word uninteresting, because that's not what I mean. I mean more so in terms of what the song kind of evokes in me. If I can kind of feel like, okay, it's a good song, but it doesn't really shock me or wow me, or just there's some unique element that really grabs my attention, then it tends to still be a decent song, maybe average or above average, like 5s plus, but there's nothing that really like makes it stand apart or like push past like 2 or 3 standard deviations above the mean. So long analytical diatribe aside, I think this gets an 8.2 out of 10. I guess I should specify out of 10. If you thought this was out of 100, you are really cool. Alright, let's check out this third one here. This one's from an anime called Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. So The description is as follows. The series of Gundam follows a group of orphans who become soldiers, establish a security company, and eventually rise up against the corrupt ruling power Gyalarhorn on a terraformed Mars while facing real-world problems. God, I've always had trouble saying real world. Like, say real world 5 times fast. I don't know. Real-world problems like war and slavery. The series takes a close look at the effects of war on children and society as a whole. Gundam, the mechs, are a big part of this world. The main character, Mikazuki, pilots the Gundam Barbados. Okay. Very dystopian type of plot, but kind of tends to be the case with many animes. Also very futuristic given that Mars has been terraformed. Alright, let's check the song out. Rage of Dust by Spy Air.
勝ち取りたいものもない無力なばかりはなれないそれで君はいいんだよキリキリと生き様とそのためにしていれる何かをこの時代に叩きつけてやれ深い夜の闇に飲まれないよ必死になって輝いたロックとせまるで僕らのような繰り返す日常に俺のように勝ち取りたいものもない無力なばかりはなれないそれで君はいいんだよキリキリと生き様をそのためにしていれる何かをこの時代に叩きつけてやれ無力なままでは終われないだから君は行くんだよどうせならクズじゃなく星屑のように誰かの願い事もせぼい生きてやれ勝ち取りたいものもない無力なばかりはなれないそれで君はいいんだよキリキリと生き様を
Oh my god, this is immediately in the nines. This is already my favorite, so it has to be above the range I assigned for number 1 here. So above, we'll say above a 9.2 at the very least, and we'll return to that rating. And you know, the way that this song just like fell into place needs to be studied. I'm about to draw a picture. Here, let me pull it up. I'm about to draw a picture of the rating I would have given this song over time as I was listening. So let's call this like 0 seconds, call this 30, 60 seconds, and then 90, which is the last of the song. So this is in seconds. This is my rating out of 10. Okay. Made the drawing. Whew. So I started off, usually call it, let's say this is 100, a 10 out of 10. This is 5. Okay, now we have our chart. So I started out here. It was slow, 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 and then all of a sudden, I think it's at the 30-second mark, we are just coasting at a solid 8+. We were just coasting, and then by the time we hit the second verse, we are boom, up to 9. Like already, this is a 9. That like melodic second verse, and then the second chorus, and then everything that followed was just already a 10. Like it was as perfect as it could be. Given that I have to take a sort of weird weighted average of the stuff. This is like the actual summation. We need to do the average. Let's do it over big N, if it's I to N. So this is a sort of weighted average of my rating, and basically I would have rated this probably, if we didn't have the last 30 seconds, I would have probably rated this maybe like 7.5, given this little circle here. I got to draw in red. This would have been like a 7.5. But adding this last 30 seconds, and honestly, maybe it was even 45 seconds, this itself was like a 9.8, right? And now you combine these ratings, and then we get something in the nines. So that is my thinking. If that doesn't make sense, totally get it. But I am going to stick with, I think 9.3. I think 9.3 is very fair. But I did give that whole entire speech describing why it was pretty high. So you know what? Trusting myself, 9.5. Okay. Now we have one last opening or ending. I think this is the third one was the an ending here, and then the fourth is now an opening. So this last one is from an anime called the Idaten Deities Known Only piece, aka Haigon Seri no Idaten Tachi. So I don't know how to speak any Japanese pretty much, so these are always troublesome for me to read the English phonetics. I do my best. This anime is about gods appearing when humanity was on the verge of destruction due to the work of demons. Deities called Idaten fought and sealed away the demons 800 years ago. Nowadays, the Idaten have no fighting experience and they live peaceful lives. But now the demons are reviving and the battle between gods, humans, and demons is about to begin. Dude, this plot here reminds me of that show Supernatural. Everybody's got to at least watch a few seasons of that show. Absolutely amazing. And classic and funny. I watched all of the seasons of that show. I know. Alright, let's check this one out. This is a song called Seija no Kushin by Tatsuya Kitani. 'Cause these have been so good today. I think the lowest rating we're going to give is an 8.2 because this is a 9.1. I've decided now. The first one we checked out. And this one, it's a 9 as well. It's in the 9s. It's in the 9s. I think actually it is a 9.1 itself. And the first one you listen to is a 9.2. So 9s, we give this a 9.1. There were so many moments that just like caught my attention, and I just kept writing them as it kind of was happening. But I love the different style changes from section to section, and with each like major decision, with every, let's say, call it 10 like second switches, each section was the right section to precede the previous section. I said that backwards, but you get my point. The order of everything that we heard was amazing because each individual section is already amazing. When you make the order better, it just is like the perfect icing on the cake. It's like when you listen to a song and there's not one section that you like don't prefer to listen to. Like, for example, This is actually a very obvious example, but there's a song by Logic called Young Jedi. I forget the feature artist, but I loved the first half of that song, but the second half of that song, whoever that feature artist was, the vibe completely changed. It was good. It could have sufficed and really hit, honestly, in a separate song, but the fact that they were spliced together and that was the only like other feature kind of ruins the first part of that song for me. So none of that is actually the case here. I was just painting the negative example. In the positive, all of the sections flowed very nicely with each other. I think the way they ramped made so much sense, and I loved that things got faster, the melodies got more interesting, and just the production, back to front, top to bottom, was just flushed out. Great mix, 9.1. All right, so I think our ratings in total now are as follows. 9.2 for To Your Eternity Pink Blood, then an 8.2 for Ranking of Kings Naked Hero, a 9.5 for Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. I think this is our number one winner. And lastly, a 9.1 for the Idaten Deities Know Only piece. So, this was a fun one. It's just fun getting to like discover all of these unique anime plots and just hear the openings and songs. I've gone ahead and like listened to a few original soundtracks that are, what create this opening and ending materials, and they're even better. Like I would rate them even more on average than the ratings that I give here. So yeah, shout out to you, Amy, for continuing to select amazing music. It's very appreciated. But that's all I have for y'all today. I will see you in the next reaction. Hey friends, I hope you all enjoyed the reaction today, and if you'd like me to react to one of your favorite songs, you can hit the link in the description box down below. It is the best way to support my channel. But in any case, your support, your kindness, your comments, your likes, they mean the world to me, and I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And as always, my friends, have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace.